Okay.
Okay, we're live now.
Hola, YouTube. What is
Yo.
going on? Aldo's going to tweet the link out from the Pinwheels and Ivy Twitter account and retweet it from Sports Mockery. So we'll give it a minute.
Just checked. It actually worked, so.
It's fantastic.
I'm retweeting it.
Alrighty.
I shall retweet as well.
Should we tag Kleinschmidt?
If you want, she doesn't really need to watch this live.
You're going to get so nervous. All right, just retweeted from SM.
All right, fantastic. As people come in, I don't think anyone will, but as people come in,
Please come in.
just retweeted myself. And all right. So welcome everybody to the live YouTube broadcast portion of our podcast. That made sense. As a reminder to everybody, this is the Pinwheels and Ivy Podcast. I'm Matt Zawoski. They call me Zoe. With me, Aldo and Matt Anuko. We're going to be just recording this live video of us doing the podcast because, well, one, Anuko's very man pretty, and two, we just want to interact with everybody a little bit more and just put a little bit more personal touch onto the show. You can always listen to the podcast. It comes out Friday mornings, although spins up something real nice for you. And you can find it on all available channels. And we'll hopefully soon be on Spotify, but you can find it everywhere else. So with that said, please feel free to tweet us at Pinwheels and Ivy Pod. If you have questions or certain things you want us to talk about while we're recording, we'll be happy to intertwine that into the show. We have a fantastic show for you today. Very great guest. Jessica Kleinschmidt nailed it on the first try. What up? Is joining us from Cut 4 at MLB. So with all that being said, we're going to kind of flip it over into podcast mode now and record the show. All right. We don't have any like cool pre-show ritual. We'll work on that, but we'll get there. We need like a ready break type thing. We get a juice here.
This is our pregame ritual. Just clearing our throats.
Okay.
Tastes so good once it hits your lips.
Oh, it's so good. All right. What's going on, everybody? It is Friday, June 22nd. You have found the Pinwheels and Ivy Podcast. So happy to see you after this crappy rainy week here in Chicago. Heading into the weekend, we got a lot of good baseball stuff to talk about. We have a fantastic show for you. I'm your host, Matt Zawoski. They call me Zoe. With me, as always, Mr. Aldo Soto. What's up, Aldo?
I hate the Bulls, but I guess we'll stick to baseball tonight.
Stick to baseball, jerk. And we also have Matt Anuko. What's going on, Nuke?
Oh, what's going on, man? That rain's been miserable out there, but at least we have a double dip tomorrow.
Absolutely. And against the A's, so yeah, against the A's, so that should always be interesting. Like I said, fantastic show, jam-packed. Very, very honored and happy to have Jessica Kleinschmidt from Cut 4 on MLB, and she also has her own show, Infinite Jess. And for any of you jerks out there, just know she is not Topanga. We're very happy to have her on. Awesome interview, tons of energy. Yeah, you're not going to want to miss that. That's going to be coming up in the middle of the show. We're also going to talk about all the White Sox promotions, not like individually because they basically promoted everyone, but we're going to talk about the promotions in general and what we think it means. And then a little bit of a weird Cubs rivalry with dude in LA.
The Dodgers media, not even the Dodgers.
It's like the Dodgers, and they just basically don't like fun. And the Cubs are dirty? Sure. So we're going to talk about that. We got our weekly pickle. We're going to talk about the best free agent signing in Cubs history. And then we're going to close it off with two of our favorite segments. One of them is, that's going to be a no from me, dog, and baseball porn. That's a sentence I always imagine myself saying.
Our favorite.
Yes, baseball porn is a hit. So all that being said, let's get it going. Let's tap this keg. As always, this show is brought to you by Sports Mockery, sportsmockery.com. Make sure you download the app so you can get push notifications so you could be just as pissed off as Aldo is in real time when the Bulls make shitty draft picks. And we also want you to follow us at Pinwheels and Ivy Pod. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram at Pinwheels Ivy Pod. We'll be doing a live giveaway next week, so you're not going to want to miss the details on that. Some memorabilia going to be going out your way. Yeah, so let's just dive in here. Basically, the White Sox did a line change. I don't think I've personally can remember a shift of this magnitude. We all know the White Sox farm system's loaded, top 3 system in Major League Baseball. But everybody got to step up. The All-Star break happened in the minor league ranks. We had an awesome All-Star games. We had Zach Collins winning the home run derby. A lot of good stuff happened. And then, as promised, as advertised, All-Star break came and went. And the big names that got moved here, Eloy is in Charlotte. Then you got Dylan Cease. I don't know who else you want to point out here. There's so many.
Catcher.
Everyone. The catcher,
Sebi Vala went to Charlotte. Ian Hamilton went to Charlotte. And then to Birmingham, you got Cease, Flores, Foster, Thompson, Booker, Call, Luis Basabe. I like baseball. And then to Winston-Salem, the big name there, Lou Bob. He's up in the ranks. Started out his debut with a base hit up the middle, stole second, and then scored on a double. We'll get to him in a second because the kid just blows my mind. So let's rewind it here. Start with you, Nuke. Bring you on in. Out of all these promotions, any of them surprise you, shock you, or any immediate expectations that you're looking for?
No real surprises. Eloy, going to AAA, that's big. And Sebi Zavala is one that's kind of flown under the radar. He was a college catcher, I believe, when he was drafted, so he's a little bit further along in the process. And wouldn't be surprised. I think we were talking about it before the show that to see him up in the big leagues probably first, or the quickest call up from AAA, just because you always need catchers. And apparently he, according to Chris Getz today, he's very polished behind the plate, knows how to handle a pitching staff. So that, plays well in his favor. Going down a little bit, Dylan Cease has been a big narrative, a big name that kind of moved a little bit quicker than expected. You hear Getz likes the phrase, forcing conversations, forcing the issue. And he used Cease as one of those guys. This is his first full year with the White Sox. I think he was part of the Jose Quintana trade. Is that right, Aldo?
Eloy? Yes. And Cease.
Cease, right? Yeah. So he was a Cubs prospect. But he had some arm trouble, didn't he? Didn't he have a few surgeries?
Cease, so he had Tommy John.
Yeah, there were issues with that, but he's come back. Apparently, he's been, throwing gas. Late stuff, like, on the 100th pitch, hitting 99. So that's, he's doing what he has to do. He's at AA. Bernardo Flores was really good at high A. Basabe is kind of coming alive and doing what, the White Sox expected of him when they pulled him from from Washington. And Booker is another one that could get a lot of outfield. Actually, those three, Basabe, Booker, and Alex Call are all outfielders. So that was like a virtually just like plug in at AA from high A. And then moving up from Kannapolis is Battenfield, which I think he was the May player, minor league player of the month, White Sox player of the month. Laz Rivera, Luis Gonzalez, who was the 3rd round pick last year, I believe. Yeah, because Gavin Sheets was 2nd. Lou Bob, obviously, he's a wonder on the baseball field. And then Lincoln Hensman, I think he was a Louisville guy. Big time pitcher.
No clue who he is, but I love the name.
Lincoln Hensman. You will know him.
Fantastic name. That sounds like a name of a guy that will build a log cabin. Like
and wear a
just
very tall hat and have a beard.
Solid name. Just
Yeah,
solid
exactly. So there's a lot there, and only a few names that you probably haven't heard too much of. But obviously Eloy, Lubob, and Dylan Cease are those big names at each level that are being moved up. And if you want to talk about Eloy and him possibly making the major leagues this year, he's still not making the major leagues this year.
That is Nuke, the killer of dreams.
Give him a shot at AAA first.
Not even like a September call-up?
Maybe a September call-up, but he's got to hit 4 bills with 40 homers.
Like, why, though? Just bring him up. Just, have him around for a couple of weeks.
40 homers. What are you
That's
drinking?
What I'm saying. Hey, I'm setting that bar high. I don't want to stunt these guys' growth. It's funny listening to Getz's interview. So somebody asked, I don't know who it was, just kind of like I guess they misspoke. I'm going to spin this. They misspoke and said, "Is it possible for if Eloy has a few good games, could he be up in the big leagues?" And Getz almost like gasped. He was like, "Are you like?" A few good games, give the kid a chance in AAA. So, you're going to be looking at the possibility is there. Realistically, he could be called up if he does really well, because he's got he's got half a season really. He's got about at least 2.5 months left of the season at AAA. And if they want him to play a little bit more, bring him up in September. The White Sox clearly aren't going to be in any kind of wild card race. So let him sit on the bench for a little while. Let him get some at bats here and there. Hopefully nothing catastrophic happens.
Eloy grounded out in his first at bat, so he's definitely not ready.
So he's not nearly the player that Lubob is.
So, although I guess, what is your where do you stand on the development of players? I mean, the Sox are obviously they're 24 and 49. They're 16.
Told you guys not to get swept up in that mini 20-game run.
Right, that's what we do.
It's going to happen. It almost did.
But
I think we were 8-5.
As a Cubs fan, someone that kind of went through the anticipation of these highly touted prospects when you guys were waiting for, I mean, you didn't wait long, but like Chris Bryant and some of these other guys coming up,
I think some White Sox fans, when they try to compare, I don't think they try to compare it, but it's tough not to do. Like looking at the Cubs, Chris Bryant was in AAA for an entire year.
Right.
And that was after he was in AA. So I was thinking right now with the Eloy promotion to AAA, I think Bryant got up to AAA in, I think he spent all of 2014 in AAA because that's when he won minor league player of the year.
He's won every award.
Bonds. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he won a Nobel Prize too somewhere.
Just because of his smile, because he deserves it.
He's won everything.
So so I could definitely see Eloy, even next year still being there, maybe until half the year. So he spends an entire.
I agree with you.
At the AAA level.
That's what I was going to say. Actually, is I doubt even if they pull him up in September, they would pull him up in September to just give him a taste and not necessarily to play a lot, just to keep the baseball actions going a little bit, get a little more BP, get a little bit more time around, get the feel for how things operate in the big leagues. And I seriously doubt, unless he again goes off the rails crazy good, that I doubt he breaks camp with the team. And of course you got that span of major league service time that they'll want to keep him at least for April probably in AAA. But I could like you said, I wouldn't be surprised if they even let him go a little bit longer. I mean, he's only 21, I think.
Yeah, that's pretty young.
That's the other thing is these guys are kids. Like Lubob can't even drink. Like these guys are very much children still, and
children.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but all three levels in the White Sox farm system are primed to have a pretty deep season.
Kannapolis won first half. I think Winston-Salem won first half.
Right.
So that means they have automatic playoff berths. I don't know about Birmingham. I don't think Birmingham did. Or might operate in a different way where, it's end of the season, top 4 teams or whatever.
Right.
But I don't remember hearing anything about that.
But for me, that just primes that these guys are going to see a lot more pitches, a lot more at bats.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm more concerned about. I want these guys to just keep going, like you said, baseball actions.
Yeah, and you remember last year when we had those conversations about Lopez, Giolito, and all those guys in AAA last year, where it was like these guys were ready to come up. Come on, like bring them up. But and we also saw that like Zach Collins was put with in Winston-Salem for almost a full year with a lot of those new arms, and there were these questions about why keep them where they are. And why take your time and hold them down a little bit longer? And it's because I think Get's mantra last year was like building a winning culture, learning how to play with each other, understanding, like building those relationships down there. Because when you come up to the big leagues, it's going to be a little bit more of a free for all. People are up, people are down, people are DL'd and moved, and in the minors, you're a little bit tighter. Of a group. So if you have those relationships and you can bring them to the major leagues, it really helps.
It's a good point. Charlotte currently is sitting at 32 and 38. Not good. So not worried about that. And Birmingham is sitting at 34 and 36. So
yeah, they're not.
And we'll get into this later, but the other thing that like White Sox fans have to realize that, it's literally you're in the second year of the rebuild.
Right.
Exactly. And
don't think about a wild card. Don't think about how many wins they're getting right now. Like all you want is that development.
Right.
Just focus on that. Don't worry about what the major league team is doing right now. If Moncada sucks right now, that's fine. Have him struggle right now. You don't want him struggling when the team is supposed to be good.
Exactly. And I mean, I think we all got ahead of ourselves looking at how fast and how much the White Sox got, just on like just sheer velocity of the rebuild with all those trades last year. It was like you got one batch that's major league ready. You've got another batch that's forcing the issue that could be up next year. You're looking at, we all said 2019, 2020. 2020 is still probably a little bit early on the early end where all those guys are going to be up and now they got to figure out how to play together in the big league level. And you know what? I think we talked about this probably in one of the previous shows is when you talk about, you cannot compare the White Sox cannot compare their rebuild to anybody who has won a World Series, because winning a World Series is not just like on a sheet of paper, like so many things had to go right for the Cubs. And I feel like I just read, it was Peter Gammons, back in May wrote a piece for The Athletic, and he laid out the like 6 or 7 just dumb luck things that happened with like either prospects or players that just panned out that weren't supposed to. Like Jake Arrieta wasn't supposed to be what he was.
It's very true.
So
Chris Bryant, the Astros picked Appel.
Yep.
Appel. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like I think his point too was like, you also don't tank for top draft picks because baseball is so much different. It doesn't matter if you have a top pick or the top 10 picks because, like we all know, Mike Trout was picked in like number 20.
Greatest player in ever. I'm obsessed with Mike Trout's stats.
I mean, we could go on for days, but anyway, so the whole thing, with the White Sox and all these comparisons is everybody's got to pump the brakes a little bit. I just want to see good baseball. I want to see fundamentals. I want to see a little bit of passion. And that's what Ray Lopez pointed out last night in his post-game interviews was just like, have a little bit of heart, have a little bit of pride, go out there and play hard. Yoan Moncada, which we'll get to. I'm just going to prime it for a minute. Just going to push that button a little bit. He is not there. He's not there right now. Do you want me to keep going?
No, I don't, because I know this is an hour show. And if you go on your Moncada rant, I think we're going to be here for a while because I feel that the hatred has...
It's not hatred. It's criticism. He deserves some criticism. He needs it.
I mean, you can't deny it. He fucking sucks right now.
Yeah, I mean,
he's been pretty bad.
Yeah, cards, and it's on both at the plate and in the field. It's
Here's the thing. Like, it's okay to say that Moncada has been like garbage for the past 3 weeks or whatever, ever since he came back from the DL.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that it's fine. He can suck right now. That's what this
part of the deal.
All about. It's part of the development.
Yes. And like you said, although I'd rather it be now than in 2 years when all these other pieces are up and it's time to go. Like,
exactly. And this is where you got to trust your coaching staff, because you got to have those guys to say, okay, this is that teachable moment. This is where coaching happens. And I think Renteria's got it, as far as publicly what he gives us, but, he's benched him before. It's kind of gone under the guise of, or the disguise of like a hamstring injury, which he did have.
Right.
But it was coincidental, right? He didn't run a ball out or something. Anyway.
Yep.
I hope that what's happening back in behind closed doors is a little bit of piss and vinegar, a little bit of passion, a little bit of like, hey, get your head out of your ass and start playing, or else I got 30 guys down in the in the minor leagues that are ready to take your spot. You only have so long.
Did you see who we just drafted, shithead? Look it.
That guy hasn't even had one professional at bat. We're putting him in the major leagues.
Oh, he's killing it in the College World Series. But with regards to what you're saying, and we'll get on to the Chicago versus LA because that's hilarious to me. But I think this is that unspoken value that we talked about with regards to Jose Abreu. Like, now more than ever, this is when Jose just needs to like close the door and be like, listen, kid, like it's time. Figure your shit out.
Start playing.
Yeah. So
no one's gonna feel bad for you. No one feels bad for you.
No, absolutely not.
And that's my thing is I watch him play and I see laziness. I see him not, hustling, and I just see like a vapid kind of like blank stare. Like he's either a deer in headlights. He's like almost given up. Like body language looks like he's given up, which I know he hasn't, and I hope he hasn't.
And it's got to be tough though for a kid his age, who's been used to winning his whole life, to be sitting there at the beginning of a rebuild, like this team blows. I just like,
yeah, but at the same time, this team blows because he's not playing really well. I mean, he could single-handedly turn it around with just his speed and hitting from both sides of the plate. This is the last excuse I'll make for him, because this is what I think needs to stop. Is like a lot of excuses being made for him. It is a big cultural difference. He's, I think, away from the family that was kind of like helping him through. Okay.
Weak.
Anyway, I'm giving him an out, but he deserves some criticism. He doesn't deserve it. He deserves some criticism.
What I'm hearing is it's time to trade Moncada. So
no, don't you dare.
Oh,
no,
you take that hot take and stuff it way down until the end of the show.
He'll be fine. What is he, like 22, 23?
He's 23. Just turned 23. Again, he's young.
He's fine. As soon as he figures out that those frosted tips got to go, he's going to be fine.
I don't think he's played an entire season of baseball yet, has he? Like at the MLB level?
Oh, no. This would be his first year. Yeah, exactly. And how many years did Avi Garcia get?
Yeah, and then
he was an all-star last year.
Speaking of which, Avi Watch, some random dude tweeted out like, I'm on a plane from Charlotte to Chicago, and Avi Garcia is definitely on this flight. So one, good for the White Sox for flying commercial. And two, that was a solid fan source. And I love how a couple of people that will remain nameless on Twitter was like, Scoop City. I got this. And it's like, no, he tweeted that out to everyone. Like, we all saw it. But so it sounds like Avi's coming up. He was crushing balls in Charlotte this week. Hit two just piss missiles.
Does that mean less time for Trace?
Trace is gone. Like, you might as well, although cue up the Boyz II Men music, get the Trace video ready, because Trace is gone.
I think I saw his on-base percentage was like 150 or something.
Yeah, Lurie's coming up too. He was hitting some rockets, but Avi was just like,
Polka's going to stay though, right? Polka has to stay.
I think Polka stays because you have the ability to DH.
But no, cue the Boyz II Men for Trace. It's going. See you later, pal.
He needs to, like, I mean, obviously he was good enough to, get to the big leagues, but just go to China with your brother, Trace. Just chill out with Clay. He's having a hell of a time.
Yeah, did you see what Clay just did this week?
He was with Instagram models out somewhere.
He rented a yacht and filled it with 20 Instagram models.
Trace, baby, what are you doing? Just slumming it. Flying Trace. Commercial with the White Sox.
Yeah, Trace is going into Pilsen, sitting there eating and while his brother is out there in the middle of the Bahamas with
Instagram models.
Yes. Like literally 20 Instagram models.
Oh my goodness.
It was pretty funny actually. So anyways, we'll cue the boys to men for Trace, but moving on. Very interesting. Anytime the Dodgers come to Wrigley, it's
weird shit always happens, even like going back to several years.
And I think I can't, although you can fill in the blank here. I forgot what Cub said it this week, but anytime LA comes to Chicago, it feels like a playoff atmosphere because they've met in the playoffs the last couple of years. It's two historic franchises, very recognizable jerseys, logos, you name it. It's big and gets a lot of hype, a lot of national attention. But just this weird thing happened this week where LA media, I don't know what happened. Someone kicked their dog, something happened. It got really weird. And just, I'll set the scene and then although you take it away and get into more detail, but basically the LA media was going off of the fact that the Cubs had a bat flip mentality. Am I saying, did I get that quote right?
Apparently, so it was it was the Dodgers TV broadcast, and they just brought it up after the third inning of Wednesday's game. Jason Hayward threw out Chris Taylor at home. Contreras had a good tag.
Absolute rope.
Just like Baez, good tag at home.
He might have taught him.
So I saw it earlier in the day. It's like, oh, Dodgers announcers going off on the Cubs and their attitude, and I thought it was going to be the typical, oh, they're having too much fun, that shit that we hear from basically every NL Central broadcast team that when they play the Cubs. So I thought it was going to be that bad at first. I heard it. It's like a minute and a half. It wasn't that bad. They dropped in the line, oh, they have a bat flip mentality on defense. And they're like, oh, they like to rub it in. And I was like what? What are you talking about? Like they had to rub it in, just playing good defense. And they were complaining about it was like after the third out, Baez they did the throw it around the horn after you see a strikeout, but they just did it in the outfield. And it just ended I don't know, Hayward throwing the ball or whoever's playing right field throwing it into the stands after. And, they brought that up. Who the hell cares?
Was that after the third out?
Yeah, it was after the third out of that was during Tuesday night's game. And Baez made a nice play up the middle, went to his right, threw it across his body, got the out. Rizzo throws it back to Baez, who's running off the field. Baez throws it to I forget who was playing right field. I don't know if it was Hayward or Happ.
I think a lot of teams do that.
Yeah, right. It was
I see some.
It's baseball.
Yeah, first of all, who cares? They're throwing a fucking ball around. They're playing baseball. But apparently they didn't mean it in a negative way. On Twitter, people called them out. People called them out, and they're like, "Oh no, it wasn't meant as a slight. It was a very complimentary term." Which
This is why people need to listen to Jessica Kleinschmidt because she is the fun. She brings the fun to baseball.
And also, before we get into the other things that were said, I would like to officially announce that the tagline for Pinwheels and Ivy Podcast is bat flip mentality.
Love it.
So, yes, that is our new tagline for this season. Nuke, you're going to just have to – you might not like it.
Nuke said last week he's leaning towards the bat flip.
It's a process.
Okay.
It's a process.
You are in
We'll
Philly.
get him there. We'll get him.
I'm beginning to feel like the middle-aged dad that wears a baseball cap and brings a multicolored pen and a scorebook to games. The quintessential baseball fan.
Nuke's going to jump all in on the bat flip after Luis Robert's first hit with the White Sox.
I don't know.
He's going to launch it up in the air. It's going to be phenomenal.
I'm a big fan of that. So the other things that were said from the LA media.
Oh, this jackass.
Yes. The Cubs pulled the double play and he said good to see Cubs fans celebrating like it was, I don't know, you'll direct quote it. I'll butcher it. Where do you go?
So his name is David Vassay. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Doesn't matter. He's some guy. Some guy from LA. He hosts a Dodgers. I think it's a radio talk show. Covers the team. So the Cubs pulled a double play. Baez bobbled it. I think Nuke, you had a little fun with it too. You're like, yeah, it's not that. It wasn't that special.
I just giggled.
It was fine. So the Cubs pulled a double play. Fans go crazy. And David Vassay, I don't know how to say his name, he tweeted this. Cubs fans just acted like it was November 2016, ... Instead, it was a double play in June 2018.
Oh, sick burn.
Obviously, he was referencing the Cubs winning the World Series in 2016, but is that really what you're mad about? Cubs fans cheering?
Yeah, so no cheering. And then the other thing, hit him with the Torres tweet. That was my favorite. That one got me. I laughed because I was like, that is, even from a meatball White Sox fan, that's a terrible tweet.
So let's see. So the series finale during Wednesday, he tweeted this after another double play by Javier Baez. The tourists at Wrigley Field are chanting Javi after a good play in June. This guy just hates June. I don't know if he got divorced in June. If he had a girlfriend, he found out a girlfriend was cheating on him in June. This guy just hates June. I don't know.
It sounds like he definitely has a June bias.
The summer.
He hates summer.
Was that after the play where Baez caught it and dove for second?
Yep. And then Cubs fans chanted his name for a bit, and it was 5 seconds. But apparently you can't do that
No, this
don't
guy.
Cheer for you guys.
It's a freaking baseball game in June, man. They were good plays,
They were very good plays. Yeah.
They're not all-time plays, but they're good plays by a very electric player. We actually have a new word to introduce to the world right now. Although it was called a bisexual. And that's phenomenal.
Print the shirts.
Yeah, print the shirts. Bisexual. But he's a fun player. His attitude, like we talked about earlier with Moncada, his attitude is contagious. His energy is contagious. He brings a life force to that Cubs team, and he's fun to watch, and he's the best tagger of all time. Just ask any Cubs fan on Twitter. No one can tag like Javi Baez tags. But shout out to Adam, our Cubs writer, because he loves it when I bring that up. So he made two good plays, fun plays, exciting plays. Fans who paid money to see their favorite team play cheered for said plays.
And I know we'll criticize fans for how they act sometimes. We'll call out the meatball fans and be why are you being an idiot? We talked about the White Sox fans overreacting to Moncada and the rebuild. But how can you get mad at fans cheering? That makes zero sense to me.
Especially when your Dodgers are an absolute disappointment this year.
They're just I don't get this guy.
I think it was salty. I think it was just salt. Cue the salt shaker memes and all that. So I think this was just salty. This was just salt, pure salt coming from this guy, coming out of his pores. And
I love the replies too. Cubs fans obviously were "Oh, you're just salty," and then Dodgers fans would come back, "Oh, you're just mad about 2017 NLCS," and Cubs fans would just be no, we're good with 2016, how 2016 played out. The Dodgers fans just magically forget the Cubs beat them in 2016 and then won the World Series?
Right. I don't know. But I will say that my memory of a Cubs Dodgers, I was at that walk-off home run game in the playoffs against the Dodgers. And as a White Sox fan being there, I was just kind of chilling. We were with all the Sports Mockery guys and just having a couple cocktails and feeling pretty good. And I'm the energy in the building was unreal. And I was, I'm paying attention to the game, but I'm not as into it as my comrades. And that happened. And that's top 3 most electric sporting, not just baseball, sporting thing I've ever seen in person. That might have been like a baptismal thing, in those movies. I was holy shit, this is awesome.
That was pretty much equal to Paul Konerko's grand slam in the World Series against Brad Lynch.
Right, but I wasn't there live. Like just being there live, and we were standing back by the fence where you could see over the streets, and the streets were filled with people, and everyone's going nuts, throwing beer on each other, and I'm trying to open my mouth because beer's $10 a pop, and there's just like all kinds of shit going on, and you're walking out of there, and everyone's high-fiving each other, and I mean, I'm not an asshole, so I wasn't wearing any White Sox gear, and like, so, you know, everybody was being cool, and it was just unbelievable experience. Walk-off home run in the playoffs. Just
there's nothing like being in a stadium where 40,000 people go nuts. I remember it has to do with the Dodgers story. With the Dodgers back in 2008, when the Phillies were going to the World Series and eventually won it. I was at like six of the like DS and NLCS games, and we left. My wife and I left.
Oh no!
In the ninth inning, or probably like, I think we were down 2 runs, and as we were pulling up to our apartment in Philly, I listened to the game, and I think somebody had tied it up. Maybe like Utley tied it up, and then and then Rollins went game winner. And I remember
whose call was it? Was it yours or your wife's?
I'll jump on this one. It was me. It was like, for some reason we left. It was either cold or something.
Wow.
I don't know. We left, and I remember I was sitting there looking at my wife, and I was like, "Oh my God, we left. We left."
I won't even leave a spring training game early. I'm going to get my 9 innings.
I know.
And I was just thinking,
point in my life.
You got me. My number one live baseball moment would be I was there for Burley's perfect game.
You were at that game?
Yes.
And you left early?
No, I didn't leave early. Fuck no.
Oh, I was gonna say, my goodness.
This is right before the Dwayne Royce catch. Like, yeah,
I was there for that game. So, but then number 2 would have to be the Montero walk-off, because that was the
eruption.
It filled my bones. Like, I've never filled that kind of energy before. It was unbelievable.
Oh, it almost made you a Cubs fan.
No, I'm not.
No, it's just
unless I caught that walk-off home run and then sold it for a couple thousand and got like residual income off of a video from it, then I might become a Cubs fan.
It's really an awesome environment though, because it's appalling, because like you usually hear a crowd roar and then it reaches like 6 levels above that, and it like gives you pause because you look around like, oh my God, what's going on?
Yes,
this is awesome.
Unbelievable moment.
And that's why you go to those games. That's why those tickets are so expensive, and it's worth it.
It's very true. So I'm looking at the clock here. So let's put this interview in. This is again, this is just an awesome interview. Really think you guys are gonna like it. I know Nuke had a good time doing it. Got him drinking wine and stuff. Guys,
that's right. I'm drinking my white wine. Sorry, it's not rosé, Jess.
But this is Jessica Kleinschmidt.
Jess likes beer. We will put that out there. Jess is a beer drinker.
Jessica Kleinschmidt. You can follow her at KleinschmidtJD. Definitely not spelling that last name, but we are going to tweet it out. It's spelled just like it sounds. You can find her. She works Cut 4 for MLB. You can also find her show Infinite Jest. Very funny woman. Awesome baseball knowledge. This is a great interview. So go ahead, Otto. Let that rip. Podcast magic. All right. That was Jessica Kleinschmidt. I told you guys wouldn't want to miss out on that one. Fantastic interview. As we say to all of our guests, open invite to come back anytime, or if you're in the Chicagoland area, let's go to a game, have a beer. Cut 4, MLB, Infinite Jest. And again, just a reminder, she is not Topanga, but fantastic interview at KleinschmidtJD. Follow her. Thank you again, Jessica. Much appreciated. So
thanks, Jess.
Should we send her an airbrush T-shirt with our faces on it?
I think so. I think that was an airbrush worth interview. Yes. We all got to do the G boy stance. Yes. And yeah. So let's get on to our weekly pickle. This is another topic, and these type of topics are the baseball topics that get brought up at the end of June every year. These are the dog days, if you will. But it was brought up on Twitter about the best free agent signing in Cubs history. Sparked some debate. Some interesting names come up. What's up? What was the dude's name? Not Heap Sop Choi. There's a couple other names.
Fukudome.
Cubs and White Sox legend. Kosuke Fukudome.
I always forgot he was on the White Sox. I think I did like a personal lobotomy to get that part out of my head. But when all is said and done, it sounds like the general consensus is John Lester is the greatest free agent pickup in the history of the Chicago Cubs.
Oh, by far.
Okay, so although you're all in on this by far as the Cubs fan.
I remember a couple years ago it was brought up, or not a couple years ago, but I think it was last year. The Cubs writer for MLB.com, Carrie Muscat, she wrote something similar, like the top 3 free agent signings for the Cubs, and her number 1 was like Moises Alou, I think. I mean, he was fine. He was pretty good.
Piss hands.
Gotta get those calluses.
Toughen them up.
Piss hands.
And I was like, I remember that. I'm like, I mean, it was right after the Cubs won the World Series. So, I mean, for me at least, like that trumps everything. I don't care if at the time Lester was only around for 3 years. Like, being the ace, being the ace on the World Series team,
right? For
like, they hasn't won since 1908. Like, he's number 1. And then now, after a bad year last year, this year he has like a 2.10 ERA. He's top 3 in the NL.
People were talking about him being washed up last year,
right? Myself included. I'm glad I was wrong.
Guys, you can't throw to first.
I mean, he still can't throw to first. He bounces it there, which is fine though.
You don't throw to first.
He perfected it. He's perfected the bounce pass, which is fine.
Yes. I love it.
So I mean, I guess
such a dimension of fun to the game. It's like he can't throw to first. What's the guy on first base going to do? Just go.
Like, when you guys think about it, who would you like for the Cubs?
I was just going to say, to sprinkle in some argument for the Cubs, you have Andre Dawson. He was a free agent signing. A lot of people don't realize that. Obviously, good old piss hands, but then you also have, Ryan Dempster. If you take off like maybe the tail end, he was a very solid Cubs pitcher.
Here's what I'll say about Ryan Dempster. If Ryan Dempster stopped doing his Harry Carey thing, he'd be higher in the list.
It's so bad.
I think you're right on that one.
It's so bad.
No one likes it. Like,
no.
But people keep asking him to do it.
I don't get it.
He can't get through an interview without hey, Harry Carey.
When he dressed up as him to sing this, I think it was last year when he dressed up as Harry Carey, I was like,
don't get it.
I just wrote an angry letter to the Cubs. Stop.
Yeah.
Please stop this.
I don't think that anybody can argue that Lester is not the greatest free agent sign just because of those facts about, winning the World Series, that he led them to it, that he's been consistently dominant.
I just thought of something.
I know.
It's John Lester until
Bryce Harper. I know.
The Cubs signed Bryce Harper.
I've been waiting for that one. I almost pulled it 2 minutes ago where I was like, I'm going to do it.
Or Manny Machado.
Is that bearded Bryce or babyface Bryce?
Babyface Bryce. All right.
Okay.
Did he actually shave? Did he shave?
He shaved his beard.
He shaved his beard.
Going to the Yankees.
Aldo, do you know? Did he go down or up, across? Did he do a
you can't go against the grain. That hurts.
It does hurt. The only other name
first. Did he go 3, 2, 1 or sorry?
The only other thing I could think of might be Ben Zobrist, but
World Series MVP.
Yeah. World Series MVP, free agent signing. He's got a ring too.
This might piss off old school Cubs fans, but I'd put him ahead of Andre Dawson. I know Andre Dawson won the MVP, but I mean, Ben Zobrist is a World Series champion and got the biggest Cubs hit in history. So, yeah, John Lester and Ben Zobrist, 1 and 2.
I just can't believe that Ben Zobrist is even still in the major leagues.
And he's good right now.
And he's all right. Yeah. Yep. But he was a role player last year, wasn't he?
He sucked last year. Baez basically took all his playing time. He was hurt.
Minus points for Benny and the Jets. So, sorry.
Dude,
that's a big negative.
Yeah, I mean, he only does it because it's his wife's cover.
I know. He has to do it. I don't think he can't even like that. There's no way.
There's no way.
Good. That's good. That sounds good.
Have you heard it, Nuke? Oh, Nuke.
No.
You gotta hear it.
Oh, no.
His wife does a cover of Benny and the Jets for his walk-up music.
That's his walk-up music?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And everyone, all of Cubs Twitter hates it.
It's so bad. I mean, good for him for like standing by his wife and supporting it, but it's
not good.
I don't even know, how do you, when you're trying to get in a mindset to go hit a 97 mile an hour fastball and you just hear Benny, no, like get out. I'm sorry, it's not happening for me. I can't do it. It's
oh, it was podcast brilliance.
Yes, that was gold right there. Yep. So I guess this pickle's not really even that bad because we're pretty much all in agreement. John Lester is the best free agent signing
unanimously
in the history of the North Side.
I'll put you guys on the spot. Who do you guys have number one for the Sox?
Oh, jeez.
Ken Griffey Jr.
He was a trade. Kenny always trades for those guys. He never signs them. He trades for them.
He was.
Except for Jimmy Rollins. He signed Jimmy Rollins.
You just wanted to say that, didn't you?
It just popped into my head. I remember
the Kermit the Frog sip.
That was before 2016 when White Sox fans thought they were going to be good, and they had Jimmy Rollins as their starting shortstop.
No, he was on the way on the decline there.
I'm trying to just go off the top of my head.
Was it Albert Bell? Oh, Jim Thome, yeah. Jim Thome. Or wait, Abreu was a free agent signing technically, right?
I guess you could consider that. I guess we gotta. But then we could say Moncada not right now, but Lubob. You want to throw Lubob in there too?
Oh, there you go.
Well, does that really count?
I don't think it does because international is different.
Yeah.
Because every international player is a free agent.
All right. As much as I hate the guy, and I have a very personal signing, or reason why I hate the guy, I'm gonna have to say Carlton Fisk.
Why do you hate him?
That's actually probably.
So as a kid, real quick. As a kid, loved Carlton Fisk. Carlton Fisk was my dude. Played catcher in Little League because of Carlton Fisk. Always loved Carlton Fisk. Me and my dad were stuck on the Dan Ryan coming home. And this nice-ass car pulls up next to us. And I'm sitting shotgun. I look out the window. Holy shit, it's Carlton Fisk. I roll down the window. I start screaming, Carlton, Carlton. This dude looked at me. I'm like probably 8, 9 years old. Looks at me, rolls down his window, flicks me off, rolls his window back up, and cruises off. From that point on, beat it, Carlton.
He was just trying to drive, Zoe. He was trying not to get into a car accident.
Literally, all he had to do was he could have did a wave, like a 2-finger salute, or like a.
Well, he gave you a 1-finger salute.
He gave you.
I was devastated as a child.
He didn't want to cause a scene.
I was so mad. I'm just like, I worship that guy. And then
how old were you when this happened?
I had to have been a kid, probably 7, 8, 9 years old.
Wow.
You
know what they say, never meet your heroes. So that was your fault.
Yes, that was.
You should just ignore them.
Yep. You should not have said anything.
Or just don't have heroes.
But he was a hell of a catcher, hell of a baseball player. That got dark really fast, Nuke. I definitely heard that. And he was a free agent signing. So
yeah,
I'm going to say Carlton Fisk.
That's a good one.
For the White Sox, it's Manny Machado.
Well, yes, Manny Machado will be the best.
Or Mike Trout in 2 years.
Oh, my God.
Don't
I feel like we need to have a whole show on Mike Trout and the possibilities.
I could do that. I am
Did you know that
with Mike Trout right now.
I saw this tweet the other day. Apparently, the media is just obsessed with him right now with what he's doing.
It's unreal.
It is, but he could surpass the greatest season by WAR total in history in like the next 2 weeks.
Decent. He's Babe Ruth.
He's better than Babe Ruth.
Better than Babe Ruth. I mean, he's literally. I always say, people, historians always say that, like Mickey Mantle, if he took care of himself and didn't drink and get injured the way he did, hands down the greatest baseball player that ever lived. Mm-hmm. What he could have done far surpasses what he ever did. Mike Trout is like literally that is him, but he's not a switch hitter. But Mike Trout, how does he? Yeah. What is it? He's made 7 outs in the past 8 games.
I think we got to put this up as a poll question at Pinwheels and Ivy Pod. We'll tweet it out. I'll do it tomorrow during the day so we'll get some more traction. Is Mike Trout the greatest baseball player ever? And if you answer no, you're wrong.
dude, the people are gonna say
there are two choices,
Ruth,
yes and
Ruth,
yes.
Babe Ruth.
No, Mike Trout
Babe
is a
Ruth
better
is facing
player.
guys who are like gas attendants. Like I don't want to hear about Babe Ruth.
Yeah, and they used to throw both ends of a double header. You know, it was like they're not throwing anything difficult up there.
Like I'm sorry, just like anything pre Jackie Robinson era. I don't.
No,
I mean, sorry.
I'd go up to Bob Gibson. I'd go up to the 60s and 70s and say, that's when you start to use bullpens correctly.
Mike Montgomery, another.
We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that this episode.
This is deteriorating.
Yes, but it does suck that
Mike
Trout
Gibson
is wasting away in a West Coast market. We need him. Yeah, he needs to be in the Midwest or the East Coast.
And he needs to. You know what? I do got to give the Angels some credit for trying. They're trying to put people around him, and they really are. But it's not coming together.
And I know we talk about players that you feel like deserve. He needs to be in a deep playoff run. I need to see him in October, and
he's gonna go to Philly. I'm telling you,
stop it.
He is so deep South Jersey, like you don't even know.
We're getting off track. We got to get in some of these hot rebuild takes. So
let's do it.
These are tweets and takes that we see that basically make us say it's going to be a no from me, dog.
Say what?
So obviously we touched on it. We don't need to go down that road again. There's a lot of people freaking out about Moncada, want him sent down, they're not happy. People want it. I've seen trade him now why he still has value. I've seen everything. But although, why don't you dish some out for us?
Give us the rundown.
So it started with this. This was about 5 days ago. One of our guys at SM, Matt Eastman, he took a screenshot of this comment from a Facebook. It looks like it's a White Sox fan group page. And the guy just asked, what could the Sox get for Moncada? So he's looking for a trade already.
No.
But wait, boys. It gets better. Because in the replies, should I say the name?
First name.
Save the what?
Shout out to Richard on I guess it's fitting. Shout out to Richard on Twitter. He responded with this. Don't blame Moncada. Blame Hahn. The prospects need to come up and learn at the MLB level. Those who can hack, it will, and those who can't, won't. The minors does not change a player's true talent and really only makes a big difference in such a small percentage. But wait, there's more. This guy really hates Rick Hahn. Is this your burner account, Nuke? Because Richard goes on to say, Hahn is just trying to turn every player into a trade candidate. He doesn't care if it affects the fan base. He is trying to fix what Kenny ruined by trading it all away. It's all BS. Hahn should be fired. His plan could take a decade, and there are no guarantees.
Whoa! How do you?
Is this guy like a Kenny Williams? Is this Kenny Williams?
Did he contradict his own? Yeah. Did he contradict his own argument?
He wants all the prospects up right now, but at the same time, he thinks that Hahn is just trying to trade them all. So I don't know what this guy. He just hates.
Time out. How does a GM develop a guy only to be a trade? Like, is there a certain way you do that? Like, how do you? That's the part I'm hung up on.
I think he's just saying that Hahn is like he must think that this screenshot is Rick Hahn or something. Like, he was seeing the screenshot of the guy asking what the Sox could get for Moncada. It must be Rick Hahn. Like that's the only thing I can think of why he's so irrationally mad about Rick Hahn and trading players. What young players has Rick Hahn traded?
None.
Like, is he still mad about? Is he like he must be mad about the rebuild itself? Right?
Actually, that's Chris Sale's cousin, and he's very upset. He's perturbed.
Did you guys see Tom Verducci on the White Sox rebuild? He thinks that the Sox lost the Chris Sale trade already.
Oh,
he doesn't think Kopech and Moncada are going to pan out.
I'm curious. I got to go back and find that.
Oh yeah, I didn't read the whole thing, but he thinks.
I think Verducci's pretty sharp on a lot of things, but
that surprised me. I was like, wait a minute.
I think he's searching there. I think his editors got a hold of it before he could.
That's a little quick.
It's like a year in.
Yeah, it's not even a full year in.
Like Kopech hasn't even pitched in the major league.
He hasn't thrown a major league fan. Yeah, right, exactly.
That's
when every other scout in the world says he could go up to the major leagues right now and get major league hitters out.
Yeah. That's to tie in the segment. That's gonna be a no from me, dog. That's
gonna be
junk.
The panic. I mean, guys, it takes time.
I know. Woosah.
Yeah, exactly.
Take a deep breath.
I like how me and Nuke both collectively just took the son of a bitch deep breath. Like, bitch. Like, if anything, it's going to give this show great content for the next 2-3 years. So that's something we're tuning into. So,
by the way, White Sox fans, next year might suck too. So, I mean, don't jump off next year either.
No, just come and hang out with us and we'll all just talk shit together.
I'm gonna put a cap on it here. Here's the cap. If they have this kind of year, by the time most of these prospects that they've traded for and invested in are up for like approaching their final 2 years of arbitration, then it's been a failure.
Fair enough.
So that gives us at least 5-6 years.
I'll take that. That's. Woo, I'll just be happy to be around to watch it.
I already have one bust though. Lucas Giolito, not good.
Oh, that's a hot take. Come on, give that guy some patience.
Ricky Vaughn.
He's got a lot of moving parts. I think he's got to figure out his delivery. But
he's Tyler Chatwood, but like gives up home runs.
He throws meatballs right now. He serves them all fresh. Up.
Yeah, he's pitching the second half of the double dip tomorrow, I think. So.
Well, we'll see, but
I'm not ready to call him a bust. Give him a shot.
Let's wrap this up. Let's take it home. Let's do your last bats here. If you got a quick something you want to shout out or get out to the people, but other than that,
I got
put
some.
a bow on this. Go ahead.
Well, up until the implosion of Reynaldo Lopez yesterday, White Sox pitching staff had the third best ERA in the league in June with a 3.2, and they had the second best relief core since May 13th with a 2.2 ERA.
Ooh.
That is interesting.
You think the Sox trade anyone from the bullpen?
That's a really good question. I've been trying to put that together as an article. I don't know. I don't see anything they need. They're not worried about anything. I don't see anybody with real big time value that they should get rid of. Nate Jones maybe, but didn't he just go? He just went on the DL. So, I mean, unless you're talking about Avi, which he hasn't played in a month and a half.
Avi.
But what about any of those relievers? Maybe playoff teams are always looking for relievers.
Yeah, but you typically don't get a lot back for them because they bounce around so much. And is it worth it? I mean, maybe Soria, maybe Avalon. I don't know. Maybe you can flip a young guy like Jace Fry, who's having a great year. But I just don't think that teams are going to be like, yeah, that's the guy we need. I would say Jones if he hadn't gotten hurt, because he's got funky arm action and he's got some legit stuff. But otherwise, I mean, they can find setup men anywhere. I don't see anybody in the pen that, or you know what? Maybe Bruce Rondon.
Big boy.
He's big.
Throws hard. He throws hard.
Heat. Yeah. So I mean, if they get if a team needs a guy to maybe be a closer, but again, you're still scraping the bottom of the barrel. And I think
maybe you just package two guys. You get a lottery ticket prospect maybe.
I don't know. I don't.
Is that
think
not worth
so.
it?
I don't know if it's worth. I mean, if you can dump your entire pen for a premier left-handed pitcher, okay, a starter, a guy in AAA, AA, ready to make a move, because in my opinion, they have no lefties in the organization. And even Hostetler last week kind of mentioned, yeah, we need left-handed pitching. but they don't. Where are they going to get it? There's lots of places they can get it, but I mean, unless you're going to grab a super guy, that's what I would say. But other than that, I mean, they've got a ton of outfielders. They got a ton of, they got a lot of good infielders right now.
Just a lot of bad outfielders.
Yolmer Sanchez, maybe Yolmer Sanchez.
I can see that.
I feel like that would be like suicidal, though. You can't do that. Yolmer Sanchez is the only reason to go to the ballpark.
The White Sox would be a lot less fun without Yolmer.
Although you got anything?
I do. Everyone was making fun of Brandon Mora, Cubs closer. He went on the DL with back tightness or back spasms. Well, they're making fun of him because he got hurt taking off his pants.
Yeah, it's super relatable. I loved it.
Right? No, that's what that was going to be my last at bat here. Was I'm like in my mid-20s, but a few years ago I hurt my back just taking off my pants. So super relatable. I don't know why everyone's making fun of him. But he does have a good sense of humor, and he posted on Twitter on Thursday. He's like, thanks for all the recommendations on pants. And he put a screenshot of some pants that he was looking up. So, good for him. It sucks that he's on the DL because the Cubs don't they have Carl Edwards Jr. on the DL too, so they don't really have a shutdown closing option right now.
To be honest with you, it made me feel great. I was like, I get injured the same way major league players do.
We're exactly like professional athletes.
I'm exactly like a professional athlete. All right. Well, on that note, I'm out of Funyuns, and my last bet is Mike Trout's the best baseball player ever. So suck it. If you disagree, I get that.
What about Matt Davidson?
And I hate you. He's a close second.
Finally hit a home run the other day.
We will take you out this week. Make sure you're following us at Pinwheels Ivy Pod. Subscribe, rate, review, tell your friends, tell your friends, tell your cousins to do the same. That's Matt Anuko, Aldo Soto. I'm Matt Zawaski, and we leave you with some Eloy baseball porn. All right.
Good show.
That is a very long show.
Stop it.
Although you're going to have some work to do, bud.
Cut these up. Was it? Were we at an hour? An hour?
I got it at an hour 2.
All right.
You could probably take out a good chunk of the Mike Trout stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, you could probably also. I think you can trim down the beginning too. I mean, we spent a lot of time on the White Sox again.
Oh, that's fine. Oh, I mean, we got to focus on the big thing. That was fine. So that's the thing. That's the problem with the Cubs, like being like, there's not. I don't know.
They're just doing what supposed they do.
We just talk about how they're good, and it's boring, so it's fine.
Being good is boring. Well, the playoffs will be fun though.
Yeah. When you comes back, that something will pick up. They're definitely going to go to a 6-man rotation though. That's what
I was going to say. We never talked about that.
We can bring that up next coming weeks.
Yeah, or I mean, if you guys ever got time during the week and you just want to record a vocal and Aldo could throw it over a video of why you think something's going on or something.
Yep.
That's all stuff we can always just keep putting out.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm exporting this audio. I will get this to you ASAP, Aldo. I can't believe it's only 9:15. That's actually kind of awesome.
It is. We're getting a little bit better at this.
Yeah. So, all right. Good shit. Thank you again for doing the interview and fucking A.
Yep.
It's a show.
All right, guys.
All right. Oh, shit. We're still live.
Yes, we are.
Oh, I didn't say anything stupid, but woo.
Good thing, because it's public. All right.
Yeah. Woo.
All right. See you guys.
Later.